elementary school reunion, and
That's right. Yeah, very fun.
yeah,
Yeah, very fun.
so it's a little earlier. Well, of course, it is a 24-hour clock, and I believe in that the Earth is round. Yeah, I know it puts me as an outlier nowadays, folks, but I
It
think the
does. It
Earth.
does. Does it?
I mean, I am an internet personality, but I do believe the Earth is a globe, if you will. I don't want to start fights here, uh, but it is an hour earlier here than normal, so I'm up. One of the tiny bit of bad news I just got. A little girl I grew up next to, Maria Valdez. I just found out she died. So that is,
Oh, that is sad news. God rest her. Yeah.
yeah. She was a real big deal at my high school, and it's yeah. But the nice thing is, I'll be with my South City friends here, and just got.
So, how many of reunions have you attended throughout the years? So you do, the 10, the 20, the five. I'm just curious.
So
Yeah.
for my elementary school, uh, it would be hard to count because there's been one or two kind of like just happenings.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had a really big one that was great, and then we had. So I would say about five with my elementary school, and I've attended two with my high school, the 20 and the 40, and then this fall will be the 50th.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think it's gonna be in October.
That's
So
cool.
yeah,
That's cool with the elementary. I mean, maybe my invite just got lost in the mail. Entirely
you know,
possible, but I don't recall my elementary class doing anything.
I would say this. Now I don't know if this is true for every listener, and especially those who moved a lot. But if you went 8 years to your elementary and you get a chance to sit down with those people, they know you so well. It's stunning how well
Yeah.
your elementary friends knew you. Like my
Yep.
high school,
See,
my
I
college,
did move a lot, so I think that's part of the problem, especially through those elementary years. Yeah.
yeah, like your college friends, they didn't know your older brother. They
Hmm.
didn't know what your bedroom looked like.
Right.
You know, uh, but your elementary school friends knew your parents. They knew your siblings. They knew, you know, the
Right.
smells of your house, and it's just such a different relationship. And of course, I graduated from St. Veronica's. I probably barely broke 100 pounds. I weighed 118 in the fall. You know, 4 years later, I weighed 231. They knew me during the 80 and 90-pound range of my life. I'm with where my nephew, my grandson Danny is at that size now, where, just not long from now, he's going to be, ooh, what happened?
Yep.
And
Yep.
they know you before all that, when all
Yeah.
your dreams were still intact and there,
Yeah, yeah, but no,
yeah.
that's really cool that you do that, Dan. I mean, that's very special. It's a
Yeah.
very special sort of thing, It's that the community has remained intact enough, and that is. I mean, there's nothing quite like reconnecting with old friends. I've had the
No,
opportunity to do it,
yeah.
especially ones that I moved away and I didn't see them or talk with them for many years, and then just some twist of fate, you get reunited. It's a very special thing, isn't it? Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, and I weighed 207. So I
Yeah.
finally,
So there you
I
go. Oh,
finally,
awesome! Congrats. Yeah, hit the
yeah, I
hit the
finally
number.
got my
Yeah.
body weight down to that first goal my coach set for me. And then we'll be on our way to, whatever. But I'm feeling great. And got the fun thing about yesterday, late start for a lot of reasons, but got here and I still got my 10,000 steps in. So,
Yeah. So what are you doing aside from the walking out there? Is your lift? You
well,
bring your usual travel equipment, or you have a gym out there? Or
I have, so I brought a glute loop and a mini band, but
yep.
what I did was I did Friday's workout Friday. I did Monday's workout Monday. And then yesterday Sunday, I did my legs, which is not a good idea, working your legs before a road trip, because when you sit in a car all that time and then,
I know.
yeah, so I don't know. I won't, I'll probably I didn't realize this hotel had such a good weight room, but I'll get my workout 3 in probably on the road here. It's chin ups. It's a lot of chin ups and military press, so it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Most any gym can handle that. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Good. And any other travel plans coming up soon after this one, or?
Well, yeah, I'm going off to if it's on my Facebook site, Daniel John, but I'm doing a workshop down in Australia, and with Tim Anderson. I'm really looking forward
Good.
to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do have a workshop down in Las Vegas with Tim Anderson, Original Strength, like June 6th, 7th, 8th, something along those lines.
Yeah. I
Just
really
going,
need to. Yeah. Really need
Go
to
to
catch up
original.
with him. Mhm.
Yeah, he's a great dude, man. He's a great.
So when you two come together for a workshop, you're blending original strength with the what, because
You,
you've
you
put
can
on, you do so many different workshops, so many different things. Which one are you incorporating into the original
Well,
strength?
the one I'm doing now for him, and it's that book. You can get it over at Amazon. And I got a terrible review from somebody, but
Oh, that's
it's
nasty.
the A, B, C, and F. So I grade exercises and
Yes, yeah,
program.
I like that, the ranking
So
systems. Yeah.
yeah, and so I go through that, and then there's a lot of there's that one has a lot more hands-on, and then my favorite part is how I combine original strength with training. Real simple for the, so you don't have to. But after every set of presses, I like a variation of neck nods, either on the ground, seated, or even hanging, which is money.
Mm.
After any pull, I like neck rotation, and that all the way can be a seated twisty too, where you come all the way around. With squats, it's nothing too fancy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 6-point rock, hands, knees, feet on the ground, and you just kind of rock back and forth. With the
I
hinge,
like that.
that one varies. I used to do bird dogs, but now I do more frozones. Whereas in a bird dog, your hand goes this way.
Yep.
In a frozone, you push it straight back, and it's much more like marching in place.
Interesting.
And then for any kind of loaded carries, it's cross crawls. That's my right hand hits my left knee, left hand, right knee. Or it can be this thing called egg rolls or any roll. So if I'm doing 3 sets of an exercise, that will also include 3 sets of the original strength.
Yep.
That goes along with it. And I got to tell you, and you'll notice most of the stuff I do is on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So throughout the workout, I'm up and down. So it might be standing press, but it's prone neck nods. Chin ups are, well, there's one I call Elowins. It's a elbow roll where you put your hand here and then twist. And my granddaughter does that on the floor, and that's why I call them Elowins. And
so what is it? The frozone? That's new to me. I haven't.
Yeah. So with the bird dog, I'm
with that. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
With the frozone, that hand goes straight back,
and that's it. Just goes straight back.
And then you pump it like you're a speed skater.
Oh, that's cool. I'm going to try that right after the podcast. Yeah.
And it's the thing that got me back to sprinting again. It's no impact sprinting. If you snap them, boom, 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 boom,
boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Oh, that sounds great.
So things are good, man. Things are good. Yeah.
Yeah, I love to hear it. Love to hear it. Very cool. All right, well, let's take some questions from the most gentle listeners in all the land. And Tom's got a question. He had to hop off the stream, but wants us to answer it for him in his absence. We can do that, Tom. Dan, his arms are skinny compared to people online. He's doing the armor building formula and EMOM routines, and he can double clean and press to 24 for 10. So he's got some decent strength there. He just wants to know if he should do anything different so that his soul may finally be content. And there is a correlation there between the circumference of a certain area and the contentment of one's soul. So
there's no question about that. In fact, I'm glad he brought that up. So Tom, there is issues with any body part that's lagging has issues. I remember we were just one day we're sitting around and I said we were talking about, I think it might have been Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I said, should I be a bodybuilder, Dick? And he goes, no. And I go, okay, thank you. That hurt my feelings. But if I go like that, you see that big gap right there I have between. So for those of you listening, my arm is at perpendicular. I'm basically making a muscle, but you can see there's a massive gap between the end of my muscle and the elbow joint. Okay, there's a huge gap. The great bodybuilder Larry Scott, Serge Nubret was frequently basically there is no gap there. It goes. So when they were 10 years old and made a muscle, their muscle was longer than fuller than theirs without even training than your, mine, or anybody else's without training. So there is some DNA, Tom, and that's a tough one. But the other issue is that I like what I read here about what you're doing for doing the ABF, because I think one of the best arm exercises is the kettlebell clean and press family. The downside is, it's a lot of work and you're already doing it. So one, you can blame your ancestors, or two, just kind of keep on the path. Now, the best way I know to make your arms huge is to get your back squat up to say 505 for 50 reps, and doing 50, 60, 100 reps with over 500 pounds will increase the size of your whole body, and your arms will grow after that. Okay. So folks, I want to get those videos of you squatting 600 for 50 reps. Okay.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Good. And like, hey, nothing wrong with throwing in a little bit of extra, curl work or something like that. And sometimes we all have those body parts that are a little bit stubborn to grow or a little bit stubborn to shrink, right? We've all got it, yeah, somewhere.
When I was at Utah State, the bodybuilder guy, my buddy, used to talk about how he had noticed that every thrower had naturally perfect bodybuilding calves. And of course, it wasn't until later that I realized that, well, because those big, thick calves that let you push, trucks up a hill are the throwing calves. They're not the fast calves, they're the throwing calves. Mm-hmm. So there's an advantage, disadvantage to every, so if you want to be an NFL linebacker, you want your spine to be you want a really thick, bony spine that can deal with traffic accidents all day long. But if you want to be a PGA golfer, your spine has to be like a whip, a fly rod. If you want to be in the NBA, your femurs have to be, double mine. But if you want to be a women's gymnast or something, there's a cost benefit to every gift.
Yeah. That's a good point. Managing trade-offs, right?
Yeah, it's all, and we always come back to it, don't we? Yeah,
we do. Right. That's life. All right. Very good question, and hope that's helpful for you, Tom, when you catch the replay. Stephen has a question. He says, "Good morning, gentlemen. I want to focus on the double clean and press and the kettlebell snatch, but I'm confused about how to program such a focus." All right. So he wants to get better at these two things, wants to put it into a program. What are we looking at here, Dan?
Well, basically, Pavel has a whole book on that called Return of the Kettlebell. But he says right away in the beginning that none of you deserve that I have, but none of the rest of you have to do it, because he expects you to snatch the 24 for 200 reps in 10 minutes and press the beast before you do the program. But I would basically, if I were you, 3 days a week, double clean and press, and just stick with that. I like what Tom has, the 2-3-5 style. Just get a bunch of waves at 2-3-5. On the hard day, do 10 rounds. On the easy day, do 4. On the medium days, do 6 or 8 rounds at 2-3-5. That'll get you 100 reps, 60 reps, 80 reps, in that range. And then after, snatch. And so clean and press. And in this example, I would tell you to do the clean and press style. And then when you do snatch after that with the single bell, after all those double clean and presses, you'd better be warmed up, because if you're not, there's something really wrong with you. But I think that's the way to go. So basically a variation of the traditional rite of passage program. And but again, the only thing I would say is that if you're doing the 100 clean and press day, that would be the light day on the snatch. Go medium on the medium day, whatever that means to you. You have to figure that out, because snatch numbers are kind of hard to circle, right, Patrick?
Yeah,
they're hard to say. I want you to do 600 snatches and workout. You might never finish that thing. And then on the light clean and press day, make that the hard snatch day. Okay,
that's good. Hey, that's some good, solid, practical advice there, Stephen. So I hope you take it, use it, and get awesome results. Let's keep going, guys.
Honestly, Patrick, if we could just get people to do what I just said, that program, that is about the best you can do with the kettlebell family. That really is. That's gonna check most of the. If you want a simple program, I didn't say minimalist, because like people get on me. Oh, he's a minimalist. No, I'm not. I understand the value of minimalism. I understand the value of life. With you, with your kids, and congratulations on your daughter this last weekend. There's sometimes there's a time in life where you only can do 2 exercises. If you're going to do just the 2, our friend picked 2 good ones. Yeah.
Yeah, good. All right, here's an interesting question from Dan. This is for both of us. He wants to know what it would take for us to get our courses or certs recognized and certified by the governing bodies, Dan, so that people can get continuing education requirements when they come hang out with us in person.
I am such an unfan of the governing organizations.
As am I. I will say I did this before for our original Killing It with Kettlebells. And when I say I mean mostly my partner Sam did it. And we did the applications and we cut the ridiculous check and nobody really cared and we weren't fans of it. So when we reorganized the cert to our Strong On cert, we just never even bothered with it again. So I'm with you, Dan. You know, I trust in the quality of what I offer, that I don't feel I need this seal of approval. And, you know, people who do these sorts of things just for that. I'm not saying this is Dan Herman, of course. I understand that people want to, you know, kill two birds with one stone. But it's a bureaucratic process, essentially. And and cutting a certain check and right. Yeah. And then waiting however many weeks and
once they have their hands in something, they don't let go. It does bother me to think that someone like myself is now I am technically incapable of being a strength coach, because even though in 1979 I probably became one of the first in the world, but since I didn't jump to the new group's hoops, I'm not. You know, but my thought is you couldn't get
a job at the Y, right, or something.
Yeah, but before you guys were born, I taught the generation that's teaching the generation that's teaching the generation, and I'm not good enough. And I'm not. I mean, honestly, folks, I don't care. But it is funny when we'll be doing something, you know, as a volunteer coach, I'll get a note from somebody in administration. You need to be certified, and I'm usually like, to coach the throws. Okay. But sorry, Dan, I don't have better advice for you. Insights, because Dan's a good dude, man.
There's So sorry, like, you know, if you're going to come hang out with me or Dan, don't do it for that reason. You're not gonna leave being able to do that, but I think you'll leave with something much of great value and worth the price of admission. I'll say that. And it's very funny. I had a friend. It's a mutual friend of ours, Dan. I won't disclose the name here. And he'd been a strength coach for a long time, well recognized, clearly knew his stuff, and had an opportunity to train somebody of significant reputation. And he was hired by this guy directly, but the company wouldn't let him train him because he hadn't had a piece of paper. Right? So he goes online and he finds like 7-hour correspondence course.
Yeah.
To ship like some 5-question bubble quiz that satisfies the bureaucracies and ships him this piece of paper just so he could get the job. It was the most ridiculous and asinine thing in the world, but kind of a funny story. People would know the names associated with it, but I'm not in a place to disclose it yet. Yeah.
Well, I found the same with certain universities I worked through in the past. It's like how quickly they find offense in everything. Like if I have a picture of you and me standing next to each other and I'm flipping off the camera, you know, we're folding arms and I'm flipping off the camera, you know, I'll get 20 emails about that from the university concerned about my lack of whatever it is. And it'd be like, you guys are worried, and the things they worry about now are just so, I mean, I remember this woman years ago, in fact, she's on the cover of Never Let Go. Well, actually her name is, because I named my 150-pound bear hug bag after her, because the bear hug carry is such a bitch. Okay. And she practically stopped an administration from doing anything because she kept bringing up chair versus chairman versus chairperson as an argument. And Rome is burning and we're fiddling, but now I just sound like a mean old guy.
You've earned it, Dan. You've earned it. So that's fine. So anyways, there's our statement on that. We won't spend any more time on it, but hopefully you see the perspective. All right. So this is a compliment, not a question, but it's worth highlighting. Lorenzo says, thank you both for the endless hours of education and entertainment. Dan, you're looking ripped, he says, and gotta agree. Got it. Boom, right there.
Well, thank you, Lorenzo.
Yeah.
Lorenzo, I appreciate that. And one of the things, and it comes back and really does circle back to Dan's question, which I really appreciated, is that, you and I would say I'm pretty sure I'm in the thousands of hours of free information on the internet.
For sure.
Not tens of thousands and maybe higher. And and then you go to these things, and what kind of bothers me is I'll go to a university and the kettlebells will be used for traditional dumbbell exercises. So, but thank you, Lorenzo. Much appreciated. Awesome.
Justin says he's got the same bicep gap. Yeah. What was it? Remember years ago, it was close the thigh gap. Wasn't that a thing? Well, now we're going to close that bicep gap.
Well, it is interesting because, and Justin, I would, when you just start to notice that, you start to get the sense of why some people you can have all the dreams you want, but you're not going to make it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to even look at this point, Dan.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got one.
Why add another context?
Right? Close the door, lock it. Take a moment.
That's the situation. Yeah. Eric says 207, Dan, congrats. Now he's got a question. If you program suitcase carries and bear hugs for 3 sets, what would you grade 1 set farmer bar suitcase carry 165, 100-pound sandbag carry, bear hug carry, and the suitcase to finish? Okay, I'm deeply confused by that last statement, but maybe
I understand.
I think he's asking what you think of this particular ordering. So he wants to start with a farmer bar suitcase carry. Okay, heavy, 165 pounds. Then a sandbag carry, and then another suitcase to finish.
Yeah,
What
Eric,
do you think?
if you ever do make it to the Pleasanton Highland Games, so they're little. You get this tiny amount of money if you win the farmer bar contest, and it's 165 pounds per hand, which, folks, isn't very much. That's when I was. But the problem is, I think I've told you this before, the grip was about the size of a pen. So when you were gripping this thing, it was rebar. It was rebar. And so, even there, there's my hand cramping up. Even just doing that, when I cramped it, it was terrible. That's 165 per hand is a good solid weight. 100 to 100, your size, Eric, 100 pounds is just great. That's a good combination. But and if you do it, I would set it up that you go suitcase carry, and then bring back the sandbag. Pardon me. Let me start again. Farmer walk all the way out, drop it, pick up the bear hug, come back, drop it, suitcase all the way out, switch hands, bring it back. When you're doing medleys, I think it's best just to do them one time and go as hard as you can for every. And so you're finished. When you finish, you're finished. Yeah.
Good. Okay. Let's take a few more here. Here's a question from Stu. He says, hey, are both of you using AI in your coaching or the rest of your life? What do you think you will do with AI tools in the future? Yeah, interesting. So no, I don't use it at all for coaching. I actually don't use it much for any fitness things. But I do find it very useful in lots of other areas of my life. So just like general, like anything I would normally search up on Google, I find now I get better, quicker answers just using Chat GPT. Also pretty useful. Yeah, honestly, and more thorough. Also pretty useful. Like, here's a good example. Kid's sick, got a bunch of symptoms. Hey, here they are. Is this worth taking the kid to the doctor for? Right. It gives you, it's pretty good at that sort of stuff. Don't replace your medical professional with the robot. I'm not saying that, but it's good, like, for helpful. Just if you have really no idea about something, it's good for that. It's great for recipes, actually. Like, if I just you're like, hey, give me a recipe for something like that, it's good for that. I think it's there's a few things people use it for. Like if you spend a lot of time with this thing, it becomes very, very clear when people are using it, especially when they use it to write. I mean, it's just so obvious. I don't know why people are fooled. Like you can just tell when people are, especially if you've read somebody before. It's like, no, none of these are your thoughts. I think that's lame. I don't think people should ever do that. It's fine if you want to use it for like editing purposes or something like that. But I think that's a really bad thing that people are letting the robot think for them and write for them. That's a skill you need to develop yourself. I'm for the future. I mean, I don't know. I think there's some great upsides and some downsides. Like the downsides again is a sort of offloading of the certain skill sets that people would otherwise normally be forced to use and develop a little bit more. But certainly it's a powerful efficiency booster in other respects. Dan, how about you? What's it look like in your life right now? Anything at all?
I still have massive concerns. One of the reasons I got out of teaching was the amount of cheating that my students were doing. It's overwhelming. It's stunning, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And but now I've been told with AI, it's basically students. I mean, so I hope it all and that kind of thing. That lack of intellectual integrity always catches up to you as a student, of course. But that's a different one. I listened to Brad Pilon and John Barbin talking about how Arnold's podcast, it is an AI generated Terminator talking. And like you said, once I listened to it, I realized it wasn't Arnold Schwarzenegger. Mm-hmm. And the whole thing is a sales pitch. The whole podcast is a sales pitch. It's an AI generated. And I was shocked. And then once I didn't think this was true, but then I went in and I realized now Photoshopping has been going on a long time. I mean, I don't think you could be a Kardashian without being Photoshopped, but I know several fitness, especially on the women's side, that it's really odd. They're using pictures from 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. But then I was told that a lot of the AI stuff is a lot of the women you might look at. The hardest thing about, I mean, I don't have, it doesn't really matter, but the suggestions for me with Instagram are always fitness models, female fitness models, which makes me think I'm just a freaking pervert. But you have to be very careful because a lot of them now they're not human, they're AI.
Right.
And I mean, you can also do some really stupid things like, dressing certain people who are not Catholic up as a pope and thinking that's funny, but we'll just move on from there.
Yeah. So I think I'm trying to be overall more optimistic. I mean, look, the horse is out of the barn, right? This thing is here. So like, it ain't going back in.
Yeah.
I see Justin says he suspects that AI is bad for us in several senses too. I mean, it's sort of like an efficiency booster in any direction, right? If you're already somebody who's intellectually dishonest and into cheating, it's going to make cheating a little easier for you, right? But that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing, right?
Patrick, you need to circle what you just said there. Mm-hmm. If someone is already dishonest, they're going to use this dishonestly. And here's the thing. You got to understand this, gentle listeners. There are really dumb people out there. All you need to do, I travel a lot and I interact, and I'm not, now there's ignorant and then there's dumb. And there's ignorant and then there's challenged. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm talking about people who ignore things, and they will be swayed as they always are. I've got this friend. He's not really my friend much anymore, but he always does a thing on his Facebook account. Listen up, sheeple, and then he posts articles that are always not true. They're always those Soviet-generated, BS articles. Joseph Biden performing satanic rituals in Central Park,
sure.
And he believes all this stuff. So if you're ignorant, you're gonna get more ignorant.
I mean, the nice thing before I went on a little rant on this in email the other day, because somebody got exposed in the music and guitar world, and there's very interesting parallels between music and fitness of all the fakery, right? So there's this thing that people do, Dan, in the music world where they mime performances, right? So get some audio clip, which might not even be theirs, or maybe it's theirs, but they played it very, very slowly and easily, and then they artificially sped it up, and then film something over to make it seem like they're doing it. It's all very fake, and they pass it off, and then they'll sell you some product. Here's how you play with me, but it's all fake. Sounds like people using fake weights in Photoshop and the fitness thing, right? So the thing is, though, before is like when technology was limited, it at least like took some work to cheat, right? So you kind of had to be a hard worker to even be a cheater or dishonest. The problem with AI now is it's just lowering that barrier to entry, right?
Well, there's probably going to be there will be a pop star, if it hasn't, it could be already happening, who doesn't exist. And they're, an AI generated, I'm sure. Listen, the number 9 song of the 1960s, you remember the Doors and the Beatles and Bridge Over Troubled Water and all the great Frank Sinatra. The number 9 song of the 1960s was Sugar Sugar by the Archies. So it's already happened that an invented band is better than the Doors or Jefferson Airplane. And now we have a much better set of tools than cartoons doing this, saying sugar, dun, 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 dun. Honey. Yeah. So we're all right. And the whole idea with AI generated art. I'm, what? If it's beautiful, I'm a fan of it. But if Pat Flynn is now, selling his work, I don't know. I don't know. Dude, this one's tough. Yeah.
All right. Well, I gotta run. Sorry, short on time today, Dan. But before we say goodbye, what are you up to this week? You had the reunion. What else are you working on? All that good stuff.
So mostly this week I'll be sitting in a car a lot, driving around. I'll be down in Cambria real soon. That's where our reunion is going to be. It's a quiet week. I'll try to get my 10,000 steps in every day as best I can. Yesterday, I don't even think I ate 1,000 calories. I just, when I'm traveling, I'm trying to be smarter and make better choices. So there's not a lot of good choices, but I did. But I ended up with a 14-ounce ribeye last night, so that was good.
Ooh,
lots of quality eating, lots of walking, lots of memories, and here we go. Yeah.
Awesome.
And thank you. I enjoyed it. This was nice this morning.
Yes, this was good. Fun as always. Thank you, Dan, as always, for your wisdom and perspective. Thank you, gentle listeners, for tuning in. If you like what you see here, hit like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll catch you guys all next week. Bye-bye.